day are alive and well in many ways, and that's not going away.
This is the North American Service broadcasting on 17.70, 15.42, 12.05.
How you will worship him together.
What have you done to its eyes?
The next time you're frightened in the dark, don't scream.
They are not what they claim to be.
You're listening to Radio.
You want to do our intro?
What is it?
I don't know. What do you mean, what is it?
What's the intro?
Whatever you want it to be. Be creative.
Creative?
Tell a joke, even.
Oh, God.
You know jokes. Come on. Tell a joke. Come on. You're a funny guy. Come on, guy. You're funny.
I'm trying.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry.
Oh, here, I got something.
Okay, let's do it.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Housekeeping. Get it? Because welcome to Evil Airwaves 3, and we're going to do some housekeeping.
Oh,
Get it?
shit. Oh, my God. We're going to sweep the floor with you bitches. Or is it mop the floor?
Build Legos on the floor.
Build Legos on the floor. Interview sex workers on the floor. Everybody on the floor. Yeah.
Welcome back. I'm here with Amber.
I'm here with Dom. This is Evil Airwaves.
Evil Airwaves.
Evil Airwaves. We have a lot in store today, but it's not huge topics in my opinion. So we have another movie review, but this time it's a documentary review.
Yeah, so it won't be as long. It's not like it's a work of art or anything.
It wasn't no, it's not a work of art, but I watched it recently and then you watched it recently. And so we were like, well, why not talk about it? But before we even get to that, not last week, haha, that's so funny. Last time we did Evil Airwaves at the beginning of August, we talked about Jesse Lee Calhoun, the alleged serial killer in Portland, who's been connected to 5 out of the 6 women who were found in a 4-month period in the Portland metro. I wanted to clarify because I don't think that I mentioned that he was indicted for 3 of those murders, and he's pleading not guilty to all 3 of them. He pled not guilty to all of them in June, which is insane to me. So
I mean, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my opinion too.
Yeah, it's not going to do you any good. It's just going to make you look bad.
Yeah.
But
and I have more to talk about with that. But before that, we talked about over and over and over again, the Colorado shoe thing. It's really fucking getting on my nerves. I think I'm fucking over it. There have been no updates. The Mesa County Sheriff's Office said they were going to do a press release on the 5th, and they didn't do fucking shit. They're 21 days late on their press release. And literally, I was looking at their fucking Facebook, and I'm trying to see what the fuck is going on over there. Like, maybe I missed something. And you guys, I'm going to put this up on the fucking Instagram.
you should.
Because I fucking took a screenshot of 2 deputies. This was posted 2 days ago by the Mesa County Sheriff's Office Facebook. It has 376 likes and hearts. And it is 2 deputies swinging on children's swing set in a park. And it says that it's Deputy Jones and Deputy Gay.
Gay?
Yeah. One of them's name is Deputy Gay. I don't know which one, but Slay. Deputy Slay and Deputy Jones. I'm looking for these fucking updates about this mystery, and and they got Deputy
playing
Gay.
on swings and shit.
Yeah, they got Deputy Gay swinging on swings, and they're smiling and laughing. I'm like, what are you doing?
I feel like there's a million other things they could be doing. Like, I know there's crime in
Mesa
America.
County.
Like,
I don't know if there is in Mesa County, but it is Colorado, so I know somebody's fucking shooting someone else.
yeah.
They do be shooting everybody. So anyways, I'll send that over to you guys. So at least then you know this is what's happening in Mesa County. They're not putting out a press release about the one thing that I'm actually interested in that's coming from Colorado, which I never like anything from Colorado ever. And the cops over there are just playing and laughing and having a good time. So I don't think I'm ever going to fucking talk about this ever again. I have gotten so irritated with waiting for these people to say something, and they haven't. And like, I feel like the internet has forgot. Not only has the internet forgotten, but I don't think they even knew to begin with. It's like,
we'll just watch. They're gonna get some guy, and he's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, did you ever find a bunch of shoes?"
Literally.
Yeah, that was me.
Literally. So, yeah. I mean, we'll see. Fuck it. Fuck them. But I think that's all of our housekeeping that we have in that area. But you told me about something that happened to you, I think today, when you were at the Target.
Yeah.
Tell me about it, please, again.
Yeah, so I was so excited. I had to like immediately, I was walking into Target and I like stopped outside so I could send you a voice message. So I'm going into Target to just get some like bins, I think. Yeah, I got bins and like some command hooks. So I'm walking in there. I like just got out of my car and these two teenage girls are walking. I don't know what they're talking about, but as they get closer, one of them is saying, and then her quote-unquote heavenly baby charcuterie or whatever she named her. And I like immediately, I was like, oh, it's Gypsy Rose.
That's her name now. Charcuterie Rose Blanchard.
She has the same middle name as her mom.
Sure. Hereditary.
Damn. That just means, I mean, history's going to repeat itself and the daughter's going to kill Gypsy Rose.
I don't know. I guess.
That easy.
I guess if that's how it works. Huh?
She's doomed to. She's going to be born into some stupid reality TV show lifestyle.
Actually, that's pretty like true. That's exactly what's going to happen. But I was I saw something about how, so I didn't know this. So, because Gypsy Rose is always going through some kind of drama. There's always something happening with Gypsy Rose, something she's doing and someone she's doing or someone she's not. I just haven't really been keeping up to date, but I guess her current fiance, Ken Urker, is Charcuterie's father.
Excuse me. What's his name? Ken
Urker.
What a horrible name.
I know.
Ken Urker.
So I guess her name is Charcuterie Rose Urker.
I just like charcuterie Urker.
Charcuterie Urker.
That's horrendous.
That's crazy.
I hope he's the father.
Well, yeah. So Gypsy says that Charcuterie is her current fiance's child, but Gypsy and her estranged husband, Ryan Anderson, who has a much more regular name. So they are like they're separated, but they're not legally divorced yet. And because they're not legally divorced, Ryan Anderson has to take a DNA test to rule him out as like a paternal parent, which is super fucking crazy. I was like, why is that a thing? Because in Louisiana, it's the law. It's like state law. Like if you're married but separated, they have to establish a paternity test. It makes no sense. I have no idea why. I guess I could have looked more into it, but I was like, absolutely not. I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of dramatic. And I feel like I saw something like poor Ryan Anderson, who is like estranged. Like, he, like from everybody, he's like, I have to do it, but I kind of hold out hope, but the timelines don't match up. And it's like, okay. Do you think that she straight up was like, you're not hot anymore?
Could be.
Because I don't really know what her timeline was when it came to getting out of prison and getting married and shit like that.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, neither do I.
I don't know about any of it.
All I know is that her daughter's name is Charcuterie Rose Blanchard Urker.
Charcuterie Rose.
Oh.
No, sure.
Does the father's name come? This is dumb. Is it Charcuterie Rose Urker Blanchard? That's way too much. I hope that's what it is.
What if it's Charcuterie Dandeliona Rose Ken Urker Blanchard?
Ken Urker Blanchard? That sounds good. And she's
Ken Urker
famous.
Rose Blanchard. Okay, so it's Charcuterie Dandeliona Rose Ken Urker Rose Blanchard.
Holy. Rose double down?
Double Rose, yep.
Wow. That's a fucking name for a special girl. Okay, moving on from Charcuterie Rose Blanchard, Charcuterie Dandeliona Rose Ken Urker Blanchard, and moving on from this unborn child that doesn't even really matter, right? Not right now. Not until she has her own show. I guess we'll move back into Portland, you know, because I've been kind of sucked up in this fucking true crime shit with what's going on over there right now. And there's not a lot, you know, because Jesse Lee Calhoun is in prison. He's pleading not guilty. But what's really interesting is I somehow keep stumbling upon these really strange interviews on YouTube. And they're all by this YouTuber named Veli Ray. And he's a Portland local. He's lived there his whole life. And he kind of just walks around Portland and talks to people. He specifically talks to houseless people, people who live on the streets, and sex workers. And he's been kind of on like a war path trying to find out like who is killing these girls. And it's fucking crazy as fuck because all of a sudden I get suggested this interview that was conducted by him, and it's fucking chilling. It's scary as fuck. It was filmed back in June of 2023 on the 24th. Jesse was in prison by this time. He's basically interviewing this sex worker. She doesn't say her name, so that's all good and fine. She's probably like our age, you know? Like, I don't think she's that old. I think she's probably like 35 at the most.
Okay.
And she told him a super fucking chilling story about an encounter that she had with a man who she thought was going to attack her. So she said that she was working on 82nd. She was walking and a guy pulled over to pick her up. And the thing about 82nd Street is that it's super fucking busy and it's not like you can just like pull over. He didn't like pull onto a side street and wait for her. He literally just pulled up next to her and she knew the deal. So she saw that cars were like having to go around him and stopping behind him. So she didn't want to hold anything up. So she just kind of like didn't really look and, you know, just jumped in super fast. She thought it was weird that he didn't pull into a side street, but she was like, whatever. So when she got in the car, he started to drive, you know, back onto the road, and she's kind of like situating herself, and she looks over, and the guy who's driving the car is what she described to be a black man, and he was wearing his hood up, and he was also wearing a medical face mask and blue latex surgical gloves.
Not the best.
No.
Sign.
No. So they eventually get to a place where they start talking services, and she was like, okay, well, if this is, you know, if this is what you want, this is how much it is. And he was like, no, I'm going to pay you afterwards. And she said, no, you're not. That's not how I do it. You're going to pay me before, you know?
Right.
And then she doesn't really get too much into it, but she said that he was being really, really fucking weird. The tension was rising. It was like, okay, this guy isn't going to fucking pay me and he's freaking me out. So I got to go. And she went to go open her door and her door wouldn't open. It only opened from the outside. Child safety locked. And so she's like, oh my God, I'm fucked. She was really, really afraid that things were going to escalate. She said that, you know, I think that she kind of insinuated like she was afraid that he was going to attack her. And she started to cry and she begged for him to let her out and he wouldn't. So she attempted to de-escalate the situation by basically telling him, whatever, I'll just do whatever you want. When she's retelling it, it's very scary. So I'll just insert that here.
It seemed like he was like, at first it seemed like he wasn't trying to pay me, and he started to kind of scare me by the shit he was saying, and so I remember I tried to get out all of a sudden, just like, you know, like, and then I realized that the fucking
door's child safety lock?
I don't know, but you couldn't open it from the inside. You had to open it from the outside. And he was like, what, you're playing games with me? And like, feel the tension between us. Like, I felt like he was gonna pop off any second. Like it got to the point where I was like in tears, and I was like, dude, look. I was like, dude, look, I'll do what you want, okay? Just please, when we're done, just take me back and let me go, you know? And this is the scary part. He was like, what, you think I'm the killer that's been killing all these girls out here? Why the fuck would he say that?
That's weird.
Why would he say that?
Wow.
I've never had any.
She says in her interview, when it seemed like I wasn't going to fight and just suck his dick for free, that's when he said, never mind, I'm good. And then let her out. So she said that she was so afraid. She said she was so scared by the situation, she didn't go out again for like 3 days.
Damn.
She said that he was driving a super beaten up car. It wasn't nice. A 4-door blue car. Veli asked her, like, what kind of car is it? And she's like, I'm not very good with cars. But she doesn't really specify if it's like a sedan or a Suburban. She said it was just a 4-door blue car. And, you know, I have to take into consideration the fact that, like, maybe her details of, like, the car and stuff, like, weren't necessarily memorable in her mind. I've been that person. I saw something really, really strange the other day, and I was like observing this vehicle, and I was like, I was trying to remember the license plate and the person that I saw, but I couldn't even remember the color of the fucking truck.
Yeah, it's weird what you can and can't remember sometimes with those kinds of things.
Yeah, it had a trailer on it. It had Florida license plates that had 0 and a 9 and a 3 in it. And the woman, this was weird. I don't know what, I felt like this was so weird. I pulled up, I parked next to this fucking, this truck and trailer. And there was another truck and trailer that was also in the parking lot. And it seemed like maybe they were just like moving or whatever. But it was late at night. I had just gotten off of work. It was probably like 9 o'clock. And I got out of my car, and I have this really long velvet skirt that I wear to work. It's very cute, but it got caught on something in my car. So when I got out, I just turned around and like pulled, you know, my skirt was stuck. So I was like, oh shit. And so I was like, I pulled it off. And then when I turned around, like I was at face level with this lady who's sitting in this truck. And when I turned around, she had pulled up the side of her like brown jacket to obscure her face from me. Whoa. Yeah, it was fucking weird. So I looked at her like license plate, and I went inside, and there was like this small group of people that seemed like they were getting like water and food, and like they had a bunch of kids with them that were like dirty and barefoot and shit. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. They're from Florida, so I don't know, but it was like fucking weird. So I was kind of waiting to see if there was like an Amber Alert or some shit, and I didn't see anything. But anyway, when it comes to like having to remember details like that, there are some things that stick with you and there are some things that don't. So I totally know. If we move away from this interview, we talk about Veli Ray. He really does a lot. He does a lot of interviews. He just walks around Portland with flyers. He stops and he talks to like every houseless person that he sees or every girl who's walking, and he asks, hey, can I give you a couple flyers? And they always say yes. And he's always like, can I give you some barbecue chicken? Because he makes like a shit ton of barbecue chicken and just has it in like little bags in his backpack, and he just gives out chicken and flyers. And like almost everyone, like he does it on live stream too. And everyone that he stops, that he talks to is like, oh dude, like I know you. I talked to you like a year ago. And everybody seems to know him and trust him too. So I feel like when cops are going into these situations or detectives, they're not going to talk to them. Like totally. Nobody wants to talk to them. So all of the interviews that he's done, all the people he's talked to, according to Veli Ray, he has a theory that Calhoun did not commit these murders alone. And according to his interviews, many of the sex workers and houseless people of Portland claim that there are 3 men that are specifically 3 men who are all considered to be pretty bad guys, pretty suspicious, pretty bad guys. He knows that one of these men is probably allegedly Jesse Calhoun. People say that they know Jesse. Jesse is a pretty recognizable person. He's fucking huge. He's like 6'5". He's like a pretty big guy. But excluding Calhoun, they say that there is another white guy and an African-American guy. There are tons of interviews that he did, like videos that are like 2 hours long of him talking to people, like, you know, so it's a lot to listen to. It's a lot going on, and it's a lot of like rambling from people who are high or like mentally ill. So I think that it's very, very interesting that as of right now, Jesse Lee Calhoun is in prison. He's been indicted. They have cases against him. They have DNA. But people think that it'd be unusual for men to work together in killing women. And that's not fucking true. Like, it's happened.
Totally.
You know, it's happened before.
There have been tons of like duos, definitely.
Cousins and brothers and yeah.
Yeah, it's not unusual for like 3 people to do it though.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on. What would you say if I asked you to go to a department store? So maybe you should go to Walmart, and if you steal like 5 Lego sets, I'll give you like $35 for them. You should do that.
Okay, why? I don't want to.
This is such a fucking stupid story. I wanted to cover it the last time, but I was like, no. We're going to talk about fucking Brick Builders in Eugene.
Elaborate.
Brick Builders is a fucking store that's in downtown Eugene. They sell Legos. And they were fucking busted for being a part of a fucking like Lego crime ring, where they were recruiting dozens of people to shoplift Legos for them from department stores and then come over to their store and they would buy them from them and give them cash in hand. And it wasn't just them recruiting these shoplifters, but they were also like engaged in an even larger crime ring of stolen Lego products. I know. And I mean, I guess this is something that is not uncommon. I think it's just sort of funny, but it's not uncommon. They call it Lego larceny, where like, yeah, like people...
That's so fucking nerdy.
Yeah, I know. Well, and they sell... So basically, they flip these Lego sets online and they make a profit from it. Or like in this case at Brick Builders, you know, just to be totally fucking frank, this guy straight up was just like stopping homeless people on the street and saying, hey dude, if you go to Target and shoplift some Legos for me and bring them back here, I'll give you money. And yeah, so they were like, sure dude, I can fucking do that. So they would do that. And literally, the police like just kind of surveilled them for a little bit because they got a weird tip. And they like would just watch, you know, not your average families and nerds going into Brick Builders with fucking stacks upon stacks of brand new fucking cases of Legos and then walk out with money in their hands. And I guess the cops started stopping people. They approached these people that were coming out of Brick Builders and saying, hey, what's going on? You know, did you just sell those? And people were literally saying shit like, yeah, I stole those. They asked me to steal those from the store and they said that they would give me cash, but they're not even giving me that much cash. They're fucking ripping me off.
Oh my God.
So like these
I love that.
Like they're complaining to the cops being like, yeah, I fucking stole all this shit to them and they only gave me like $30. He's fucking ripping me off.
I mean,
so I mean
I would.
I mean, I don't know. It's definitely exploitation of our you know, houseless population who is definitely struggling. So basically, yeah, there is this Sopranos style like crime ring happening with Legos in Oregon. There was a recent bust that happened in Long Beach, but literally at just Brick Builders, they had all of their own inventory. And then the inventory that they deemed to be stolen was over $200,000 in value. So they had over 4,000 Lego sets that were stolen. and their ring that they were part of, and the shoplifters that they had were of course local, but also there were people who were in Bend, who were in Hillsborough, who were from the coast, who were from Medford, who were all saying, yeah, I fucking shoplift Legos and I get them back to Eugene. And this guy runs a store and he gives us money, but it's not enough money. He's fucking ripping us off. He's exploiting us. And like, this money doesn't even cover the fucking gas it takes to fucking go over the fucking hill. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, gas is not cheap. So,
No.
The owner's name is Amon Hendrickson. I have met this person before. I just recently saw a photo of him and learned his name. He used to come into my work all the time. He's a fucking asshole.
Nice.
So, and then also one of his, it's sad. One of his employees, well, I guess it's not sad, but one of his employees is also getting charged. And he's like 53 years old and I don't remember his name. But basically, Amon Hendrickson is being charged with organized retail theft and grand theft. So, he'll go to white collar prison for 2 years and then he'll start, a different business where he sells, I don't know, magic cards instead. So... That's Lego Gate.
How scandalous.
It was pretty shocking in a sense where it was like absurd. It wasn't even like, oh my God, that's terrible. It was just, I couldn't believe that it was even a thing. I could not believe that the fucking brick builders in downtown Eugene was running a whole ass fucking Lego crime ring. Anyways, fucking moving on. There have been a lot of updates about the DELPHI murders. If you don't know what the DELPHI murders are, it was 2 girls who were 12, 13 years old who were murdered in Indiana. They were found murdered in like a city park. I mean, it's a rural area anyway, but they were found.
Now, is this the one where it was the... They like took audio of him?
Yes. One of the girls took a short clip of him video wise.
On like Snapchat.
Yeah, on Snapchat. And then she also pressed record on her phone and recorded his voice saying, guys, down the hill. Like telling them to go down the hill. And it's so sad. Whenever I look at the photos of those girls, it like makes me sick. So they were murdered and then no one knew who he was. It was a whole thing. And then years later, literally years later, I feel like they finally arrested a guy. His name is Richard Allen. And Richard Allen was a local and he's been in prison. He's being held in prison. And I mean, he looks like a beaten dog at this point. It doesn't look like he has been eating very well. And he also looks scared out of his fucking mind. So anyway, there are a ton of updates about the DELPHI murders because the court case is supposed to start in October. And there's been all of these things happening where things keep getting stalled out, things keep getting pushed back. And he just recently requested to be moved to medium security prison, which I think he got approved for. But also his defense attorneys put in a request for the district attorney and for the judge to drop the charges. They were like, hey, you should drop this case entirely because the prosecution destroyed evidence that could have been valuable to us. If you have evidence, you have to share it. Evidence is evidence. And so I guess the prosecution accidentally destroyed some of the evidence. So they're like, well, this makes the whole case like null and void. Like if we can't defend him because they're destroying evidence. And the judge said, sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up. What was destroyed wasn't even destroyed. It was lost on accident and it's not even fucking valuable. And so like, I think the trial goes, it's going to go into full effect in October. But as of recently, I read something that said that he had admitted to his wife that he had killed the girls. And then also while he's been incarcerated, he said that he has killed many people. He said that he's committed up to 60 murders. I don't know what he's talking about. But I'd like to find out. Let's just move on to our next segment, which is our docuseries review. Not to double down on movie reviews, but I actually thought this was an interesting documentary, and I've come to find out that not many people think that.
Really?
Yeah, there was a lot of opinions that I saw that was like, oh.
I certainly have opinions.
Okay, well, let's get into it.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about a documentary called They Called Him Mostly Harmless, and it's a true crime documentary, kind of mystery movie, and it was released in 2023 at the Jackson Hole Film Festival. And as of February 2024, it is streaming. You can watch it on YouTube, YouTube TV, HBO Max, which is where I watched it, or Amazon Prime. And the synopsis online goes as follows. A hiker found dead in Florida wilderness is identified by internet sleuths after 2 years. His identity triggers more questions as multiple hikers claim to have met him, but he never revealed his name, which is, it's quite a bit more than that.
Yeah,
but
I thought that was a pretty strange simplification of the story.
Yeah, but I mean, you wouldn't want to give anything away.
Yeah.
I guess I get it. But for our ratings, right now it has a 63% on Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb 5.9 out of 10, and what is this, good movie to watch?
Yeah.
Is that a rating system?
I guess.
5 out of 10.
Yeah, that's like the name of the thing. That's the name of the fucking movie thing.
Do you happen to know what the Letterboxd rating is?
No, it didn't have it available.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I could try and look really quick.
If you want.
I know it's going to be low.
Yeah, probably.
Please remain on the line.
Oof. 2.6 out of 5.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. That checks out for a Letterboxd score.
You know, okay, so let's kind of go into this. I feel like the synopsis isn't that good, so I did write at least a paragraph or two about
synopsis
of what actually the story is.
Spoilers then.
Super spoilers, yeah.
Everybody, spoilers.
We're spoiling each other. We're spoiling out. We're spoiling. We're getting spoiled. Rotting, curdling.
Okay.
So, I'm spoiling it. So, basically, a hiker by the name of Mostly Harmless. His trail name is Mostly Harmless, and he also goes by Denim. He was found totally emaciated in his tent in Florida in July of 2018. And his tent was located at a campsite in Big Cypress National Preserve. It was only 5 miles from the interstate. When they found him, he was 83 pounds. And inside of his tent,
teeny.
Disturbingly small. And I mean, I think he was like 5'8". So in his tent, he had $3,600. He had some notebooks that were full of computer code, and inside of his tent, he also had food and water, even though he had died from starvation. So in the weeks to follow, a ton of hikers came forward telling law enforcement that they knew him only by his trail names, but his identity was totally unknown, and his identity remained unknown for over 2 years. So within that 2 years, a battle between web sleuths totally ensued because they were all in a race to uncover his identity. It was very like, it became something that was a little self-glorifying and super egotistical for these people to find his identity. It was like a war. So eventually in 2020, a woman came forward with information claiming that she knew Mostly Harmless. His name was Vance Rodriguez. He was a computer engineer, and he was from Lafayette, Louisiana. He grew up there, and then he was living in New York, where he was working as a computer engineer, and all of the code that was in his notebooks was from a game called Screeps, which is a game where it's basically just for like coding nerds, where you make code and your game plays constantly, even if you're not there. And that's basically it. It's strange because people are like, well, he was gone for so long. Why didn't anyone report him? Like, why did no one know his name for 2 years? Like, they had all of these images of him, photos of him that other hikers had taken. It seemed like everyone who met him on the hikes were like, we really, really liked him. He was such a nice guy. We can't believe that he's dead. Well, it turns out that before he went missing, before he died, he had a super troubled life of being a total piece of shit.
Don't call it a troubled life. Like, that means that he had troubles happening to him. No, he was the trouble.
He was the trouble. Yeah, I mean, troubled as in he was troubled. Everyone was troubled. He was troubling people. He was super abusive. He abused all of the girlfriends that he had. He was a bad guy. He definitely had pretty extreme mental health issues, which is not an excuse. He had attempted to kill himself when he was a teenager by shooting himself in the abdomen, which resulted in like a full scale like fucking open body surgery. So he had like a huge like cesarean scar all the way up his belly and chest and shit. And people were basically like, yeah, well, no one was looking for him because he was a piece of shit and everybody hated him. Yeah. And that's why nobody was looking for him.
Yeah, and basically, like, his family as well, he just kind of moved away and
they never talked to him.
Really, so it didn't matter.
He was totally estranged. That he left when he was like, they say that he was emancipated when he was 17 and they never talked to him ever again.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was because they tried to get him mental health help.
After he tried to kill himself, yeah.
Yeah, and he emancipated himself because of that.
Yeah, because he said he didn't like being institutionalized, which, I mean, I understand, but also, like...
No one does.
No one likes to be institutionalized, so... But he was also just a pretty, like, intelligent person in many ways. Like, he went to college, but didn't graduate. He still became a computer engineer. Seemed like an incel, indoor boy who was really, really mean to his girlfriends, very, very mean to his girlfriends, and didn't have many friends. And he was able to scrub himself from, you know, basically like the internet, from everywhere. No one gave a shit. So sometime around 2017, he started hiking the Appalachian Trail. Mm-hmm. And that's when he started meeting other hikers. And like the Appalachian Trail is different in a way where it's so fucking long. It's not like the Pacific Crest Trail where people do it every year and there's like drop-offs where you can get like supplies and but yada yada yada. I mean, the Appalachian Trail is just like expansive. It's huge. People just walk it all the time. It's year round. And so basically that's what he did. He started up in New England and he just started walking, and he did that for over a year. And he met tons of people along the way, and he never got close to any of them, but they all said that he was super nice. And they were all very surprised when he died and the way that he was found when he was that emaciated. And then they were even more surprised when they found out that he was just a fucking piece of shit. So yeah, that's basically it. That's all you should really know about this story before we even really get into it. Mm-hmm. So I'll let you start with your opinion.
So Amber very kindly kind of wrote out a formatted questionnaire to rate different areas of movies and documentaries, which is great. It really helps me get my shit in order. But we start with originality. So was this documentary generic or compelling? And as for myself, I said generic until the end, but generally just generic. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
Damn, now I feel kind of dumb because it's not that I don't agree. I found it to be compelling in some areas. I thought his death was compelling. I thought that the topic was pretty interesting. I was like kind of like into it. But when I think about you know, when I actually sit here and think about what I think is compelling, I watched Making a Murderer like 3 times. And if
I've
you've
never seen it.
If you've never seen it, according to Zach, it is the most boring, mundane fucking shit he's ever watched. And I'm like, well, I love it. So I don't know. I found it to be compelling because I think it's a good mystery. I think that it is mysterious. I had never heard of this case before, which is kind of crazy. Compelling, yes, but also like I straight up was able to pause it, go drive and pick up Zach from work because it was super late, and then come home and go to bed, and then I finished it the next day. I wasn't like, oh my God, I have to go finish this thing. But I remember telling Zach like, oh, I think it's really interesting. And I feel like Zach said something like, oh yeah, I already watched that shit. And it was boring. So
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's boring, but it's definitely just the sort of thing I would, and I did just put it on in the background while I was dinking around with stuff on my desk. Like,
yeah,
I was passively interested. Like, yeah, I wanted to know what happened. I was like, oh, interesting. You know, he had all these resources, but he's
dead,
starved. You know, yeah, I'm like, oh, I wonder what happened.
Right.
Oh, I wonder who he is. Who killed him? What happened?
Yeah.
But I wasn't, especially when it got into all the people that they were interviewing, who I just had zero interest in their bullshit, and I was somewhat interested in like the different methods of investigation that they used, especially like when they were talking about how they crowdfunded to get this this DNA mapping done. You know, that was kind of cool, but I was just kind of waiting to get answers.
There are lots of generic topics when it comes to true crime, and I did not find this to be a generic topic. I thought it was actually interesting. And I guess a lot of people did not think that. Yeah,
I feel like unidentified deceased people is pretty generic.
Really? I thought it was interesting because he wasn't unidentified in the ways that people just find a Jane Doe or a John Doe. There were dozens of people who knew him, who camped with him, who hiked with him for days, who took pictures of him, who stayed in hostels with him. People knew him, but they didn't know who he was. So I thought that was bizarre and interesting. I thought his death was bizarre and confusing. And just the fact is that fair. Like, because of my like stance on true crime at this point in time, I mean, doing Evil Airwaves has put me in the shoes of looking into more true crime than I have in like years. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I had never really even heard of this story. I had never heard of Mostly Harmless. So
I hadn't either.
You know, and also it happened in the South, so it's like whatever.
What do you mean?
Like that's far away from where I'm at.
Oh, I don't hardly know anything that happens where I am.
I guess that's true too, huh? I don't know anything.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
You just did like 3 different things about Oregon. What are you talking about?
It's because I literally like it's been in the back of my head. It's fine. It's not. Okay, let's move on. What are your thoughts on like execution and like atmosphere and style? Because I feel like some documentaries are very like very bad. Mm-hmm. And I'm like very detached from documentaries that have like narrators or like bad mm-hmm. music or sound effects or recreation scenes and shit like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you agree with me there, but I found it to be really kind of interesting visually. I know that kind of sounds bizarre, but I really did when I really thought about it.
How so? What was like visually interesting? Do you think?
There was a lot of really pretty shots of like the woods, very like mm-hmm. pretty woodsy shots with like birds and like bugs. You know, you can hear it and just these like very natural, quiet sort of scenes and imagery. Then you switch to something that is literally like web sleuth, which is like this crazy like blue light fucking like pixelated like fucking Facebook fucking technology. It was very weird to see the two comparisons. It actually was totally like split down the middle for me. I think that also like kind of shaped my opinion on it too. Not to be like, oh, I think that I have a completely different opinion than other people, but I really feel like I do. And I don't want to be pretentious about it because it's not what I'm about. But I thought that was on purpose.
No, yeah, that could be.
I also like that they showed all of those old photos of him that people had from like the 18 months or whatever that he was hiking all the way from like from like New York to Florida. I
mostly like later when they reveal what he used to look like versus what he looked like when he was hiking.
He looked like he looked like he listened to Burzum.
I thought he looked like he listened to him.
Oh my God.
When we talk about the participants, I'll talk more about the dichotomy of old him versus mostly harmless. But
can you sing him for me right now?
No, I won't. I won't do it.
Okay.
Because I don't think you'd even recognize it. There was one album that I listened to,
and it was bad.
I didn't even like the whole thing. No, it wasn't bad. There were a couple okay songs, but would you like to hear my atmosphere thoughts?
Yeah, I do. I really do.
They're gonna sound different from what you said. I'm just gonna read what I wrote here. Bit cheesy. Mix of Hallmark and A&E, tried to evoke emotion and interest unsuccessfully in different areas. Atmosphere wasn't very tense or mysterious or anything at all. Style was dry and bland. But I think that's just from like, because you were really paying attention, I think. Like you were really absorbing it as a whole piece of media, and I think I wasn't.
So, I mean, I think that the only reason why I developed that opinion about Mostly Harmless is because of the pure annoyance and hate that I started to develop for the web sleuths in this piece of media in general. So it was like sort of like every single time they were on screen and I didn't have to fucking listen to them talk, it was a completely different vibe. And I think that's the only reason why I noticed.
Do you want to go straight to the thoughts on the participants then?
Yeah, let's just do it.
So I thought they were these web sleuth ladies, these middle-aged fucking ladies who sit in their basements all day, fucking click-clacking, harassing people, trying to figure out mysteries and trying to be the leader of their Facebook groups and going through drama online and all this shit. Super annoying.
So annoying.
And my main thing with pretty much all of the people who were interviewed is that after the big reveal, like once they all find out that Vance was this abusive fucking asshole, they continue to say, like, they act surprised, and then they're like, they just say positive things anyway.
Right.
Even though it was, like, regarding the version of him that they knew, like, when you learn something like that about someone, your opinion should change.
Right. I think that they all, like, had this, like, idea of who he was and who he was supposed to be, and all the hikers that encountered him said that they connected with him, and that they really liked him, and that he was a very nice man. But the fact of the matter is that it didn't really matter that he was that way on the trail, because he wasn't like that in real life. So I remember the one that was specifically very annoying when the women came out and said like that he had abused them. She denounced it. She said that she basically didn't believe them, and it wasn't her place to say whether or not he was abuser. Like, she kind of refused to
How about just believe them, you fucking bitch?
Literally. And it's like, okay, like, I think you just have the hots for this dead man. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, I'm sorry, he's dead. He is not the person you thought he was. And she specifically, I want to say her name was Kristen or Christy.
I think it was Christine, but
Christine.
I don't know.
She was
That's
the
how
one,
memorable these fucking people were.
Yeah. I mean, she was the one who was very, like, egotistical, like, finding his identity meant more to her, ego than like for his family. It was like she had to find it first for herself. And even when his identity was discovered, when a woman came forward and put it in her Facebook group, during her interview, she starts to cry. And she even says on camera, she says, I did it. Like, you didn't do fucking anything. You sat on your ass the whole fucking time. She harassed people who were still living too. She was reaching out to still living people being like, are you this dead person? And which is really fucking uncool and not okay. And
I feel really bad when they interviewed that guy that was like, all these Facebook communities were fucking harassing him, trying to make him prove that he's not this
mostly
like
harmless
dead guy.
Yeah,
like what the fuck?
Yeah, wasn't he? Oh God, I think he just maybe had a similar name. Then there was another guy who was like a gay man who got like fucking ostracized and like by his family. And so he was like, oh my God, it's this guy. And it's like, no, like he just had to move across the country because like his family like fucking like hates him because he's gay. And you're calling him, asking him if he's a dead man. Like fucking get the fuck out of here. Like just the worst fucking people ever. And the other chick, she was a little bit more like, I think she was a little bit more palatable in my opinion, but she definitely was like a little annoying in a sense where she was feeding into Christine's thing where she was like, whatever, I'm just going to make my own Facebook group. And they were kind of at odds. But at least Christine did a fundraiser, I think, to like do a DNA test to find out more information about him. So like between like the woman who came forward and said that she knew him, that they used to date, and the DNA test, they were literally able to find his family immediately. So, I mean, really the people who did it were just the people who donated and the woman who came forward finally and said, yeah, I know that guy. It wasn't Christine. I thought it was so cringy that she started crying and she said, I can't believe that I did it. You didn't do anything. Ugh.
Yeah, she kind of makes me sick detective.
She makes me sick to my stomach too. Like she like says all this stuff about how basically she was like, my house burnt down. I wanted to be an FBI profiler, but I couldn't go to school to do it. And that's why she's 50 years old and lives in a long stay hotel with her sister who's like disabled.
Yeah.
So.
But that was the thing about that Christine lady. She was like, yeah, I live in a long stay hotel and then I work at this like laundry processing place. And then as soon as I get off work, I get on the computer at work because the internet's better. And I just research all night.
Yeah. Like,
it's like, wow.
Like
what a life, dog. That's
literally
awesome.
Me.
I mean, don't you do other things? You like have a partner, you have friends, you do things.
That's true. You know, and not to shit on web sleuths, a lot of them are not like good at what they do. A lot of them are not detectives. They are not detectives. They are just web sleuths. They get totally obsessive and weird. It's super cringy. And like obviously Christine and this other chick's dynamic, I want to say her name was like Kayla. I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't care. But between the two of them, it was like really soul sucking and just like really fucking lame and cringy to watch them be like, yeah. And then people were telling me that I should kill myself. And I like was gonna kill. And it's like, bro, this is not what we're talking about. Like, I'm sorry that happened to you. But holy shit. So it was
the internet, my friend. Like, shut up.
Literally. Well, okay. And then also there are web sleuths who do solve mysteries all the fucking time. And if you want to watch a really, really good web sleuth fucking documentary, you should watch Don't Fuck with Cats, because
I haven't seen that, but I know the story. It's pretty cool.
the people who were web sleuthing this, it was a small group of people, and it was in particular 2 people who worked together. A woman in Vegas who worked as like at a casino. She was like in a engineering position at this casino, and then she had a like an online alias. And then the other man was like a computer, I want to say he was like a computer coder, older man in his 50s who was in California. And they both were just cat lovers. And they saw what happened. This person was torturing these cats online, and they were like, we're going to fucking get him. And they did. And it was because they had a closed off Facebook group that only had 6 or 7 people in it. And if people were in there and they weren't being helpful, they would just kick them out. It was like super heavily moderated, and they were actually doing it to the point where they were like looking at these videos and being like, that wall outlet isn't American. And that vacuum that he's using to torture these animals is, we need to figure out what country that's from. And they would figure it out. They would go online and they'd find fucking vacuum forums and be like, hey, do you know what kind of vacuum this is? And they were like, yeah, it's this vacuum. It's only sold in Canada and America. And it's this model that was sold between these years. Like, they're actually doing it. Whereas like in this documentary with these 2 women, it was really just posting photos a lot and arguing with each other.
Yeah.
That was about it.
They even, I mean, they go a totally different kind of, if it even is a method, than the don't fuck with cats people. They talk about how they were sharing these photos and the information in literally every Louisiana-based group they could find and every hiking group they could find. It's like, you're kind of flooding shit.
I think it silences people when you do that too. People get lost.
Oh, totally. And like, another thing that I kept thinking, I mean, before I knew he was an asshole, and it kind of clicked when I did find out, but there's probably a reason he isn't being found. Like, he scrubbed the internet of his presence. He didn't give people his name. He wasn't traveling with anyone. He didn't have a cell phone.
He's aliases too.
Yeah, he's trying to get away from something, and he doesn't want people to know who he is. If he dies, it's with the intention of dying unknown.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was kind of disrespectful almost. I don't know if it's unethical, but it's just like, I don't know, if someone who is really private, I guess, if I wanted to erase everything and just go die, I would hope no one would try to investigate my shit.
Right. And
because now everyone knows he's an abuser, so. Right.
And like, I'll kind of talk about that too, because I do have a theory. And the one thing that I always think about when I look at these reviews and I look at what people say online, it's always the same shit where it's like, well, we don't even really know what happened. And this isn't even true crime. And it's like, I think you just want all of these like gritty details. You just want to see the pictures of his dead body. You want it to be a lot more sensational. Like, at the end of it, like, people are like, they don't even tell you how he died. It's like, are you fucking stupid? Like, they literally said how he died and why he died. Like,
yeah,
no one killed him. He killed himself. That's basically what happened. We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
but
I
thought they were pretty soul-sucking. But when I think about the hikers that they interviewed, I really loved them. I really liked all the hikers that they talked to. We were like really simple, like down to earth Southern people.
I did until the reveal, and then they still loved him.
No, I don't think so.
I think they did. Because they're like, oh, I mean, he I can't believe he did that. That's crazy. I mean, to think that that's so wild, because I never would have guessed, but he really changed my life. Like, you know? Like, that's the kind of shit they were saying. And then the fucking guy over here writes a song with his band Curmudgeon or whatever the fuck.
Oh my God.
And then he's singing this stupid fucking indie song, and me and my partner were just fucking laughing so hard because it's that shit.
Me
like
and Zach were
playing
laughing
over
too.
Like square dancing people and like people crying about fucking Mostly Harmless. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it definitely.
You guys all suck.
It definitely was like, well, I remember what Magpie said. That woman her trail name was Magpie, is that she was like, I was surprised. Like, he was very kind to me. I would have never guessed that. But if that's what they said happened, then that's what happened. So like she accepted it. And then the guy who also wrote the song was like, that he basically was like, it's never okay to hit people. And he was like embarrassed. He's like, I shared with him my deepest secrets about being abused by my father when we hiked together. And he like also like shared his own stories about issues with his family and his father. And now I know that he was the problem. And then he writes a song about him though. So it's like, you know, I feel like it was kind of back and forth, but when it came to interviews, not necessarily like the end, but like, I just felt like those people were far more like, you know, real. I felt like it was a split between real people and not real people.
I mean, they were definitely more likable.
How about residuals? How did you feel after watching it?
I guess I'm mostly annoyed.
Oh, fuck.
Just like frustrated with the interviewees. Like the most fun that I had, or like the most interesting thing about watching it was making fun of them. And then just again, the thing of everyone talking about how much he's changed their lives, how kind he was, blah, 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 blah. And then, but they've only encountered him a few times. And abusers are manipulative. It's what they do. And he's running away from his past. What do you expect? It's not a reach to assume that he was pretending to be a good person so he could continue hiking like unharmed and unpunished for his fucking past. And I don't think that was really registering with a lot of the interviewees, and it was annoying to me.
I don't think that's something that registered with anybody. I have a different idea of what happened because I don't think he was running from anything. I think he had a goalpost. They mention at the end that he had suicidal ideation. He did shoot himself and survived, but they also talked about how he would fall into these lows where he would starve himself and he would not eat. He refused to eat. And I think that he was just done with life. I think what he wanted to do is he was like, this is it. I'm going now. I'm going to walk the entire Appalachian Trail, and I'm not going to tell anybody who I am or what I'm doing. I'm not going to get close to anybody. I don't want to be found because people are going to try and stop me. And when I get down to Georgia, because that was his original place where he wanted to go, but ended up in Florida. When I get to where I want to be, I'm going to lay down and I'm going to die. I'm just going to go kill myself. And I don't want to be stopped. And I want to do it my way. And that's what I'm going to do. And he literally just laid down in his tent and fucking did screeps in his notebooks until he died. I think that was his goal. I don't think he was running from his past. I don't think he was running from his life. I think he was like, I'm going to walk. And that's why he never let anybody get close to him. He never used his real name. He used aliases. He was only carrying cash. He didn't have a cell phone. He didn't have a GPS. He didn't want to be found. He was just like, this is what I'm doing. And like, that's what he did.
So I could see that because that seems like something selfish enough for him to have done. That sort of a person based on what we know. But they were also mentioning at the end that he may have been going on this long journey as a kind of like a penance or like a self-punishment, in which case kind of connecting to your theory, but like, why not be honest then? Why hide everything? And if your theory is correct, then I guess that would explain not being honest, because if he had a specific way he wanted to die, if he was honest, someone might get to him before that.
But the thing is that he was honest. The only thing that he wasn't honest about was that he used aliases. He told people he was from Louisiana. He told people that he was a computer engineer. He told people he was from New York.
Who did he tell he was an abuser?
He didn't tell anyone he was an abuser. I said...
That's what I'm saying.
Well, right. But he's not going to say that. He's just withholding information. He's not lying.
Lying by omission.
Sure. I honestly just think that he, like, yes, is like a manipulative, weird fucking, like, abuser and is like a piece of shit. But I think that, like, I mean, he just didn't want people to find him, especially if his goal was going to go lay down and die, not in a way that he wants to go quickly. I'm sure he thought that maybe if he had made friends, if he had met people, if he had developed relationships with people, then he would end up not wanting to go through with his final plan to kill himself, because he was asked like, hey, do you want to come with me the rest of this way? And he would say no. People would even be like, hey, do you want to come with me to this place and take a shower and shave? And he'd say no, because he didn't want to get close to people. But he still like shared meals and fires and, you know, walked along people. I mean, like, that's what you do. I mean, that's it. I think that's just like the culture of the Appalachian Trail. I don't really get it, but I'm not from there. So it seems like a very different vibe than any hiking that I see on the West Coast.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I don't really understand it. It's not my culture, but you know, I don't know. Like it is.
Do you think it's cultural appropriation to wear Patagonia?
No.
Like hiking culture?
Oh, for me to wear it?
Yeah, if you wore Patagonia, would that be hiking culture appropriation?
I don't think I have to wear Patagonia because it doesn't get that cold here.
Oh, I guess
well, it kind of gets cold. It gets to be like 40 something, but it's wet cold. But I have jackets and shit.
You don't have like puffy coat cold.
No. I mean, I could wear a puffy coat cold if I wanted to, and it would keep me warm, but it doesn't snow here really. So it's kind of like, well, you know, if it's not snowing, then like, why am I wearing this big ass fucking thing? Is it cultural appropriation to drink out of a hydro flask? Is that a hiking thing?
Is it more camelbacks?
What'd you just call me?
Get over here, you fucking camelback.
No, I think it's, what is it called? I don't think it's called camelbacks. I think it's called camel toe.
Oh.
You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, we'll just real quickly. Do you think it was worthy of a documentary?
Sure. I think it just depends on narrative, right? If they had removed all of that web sleuth shit, I did not give a fuck about those people or their lives.
Yeah, their personal drama was so fucking useless.
It did seem like filler. Like, why weren't they talking to Magpie more? Or the square
She was pretty cool.
Yeah, like, or the square dancing guy, or even the redheaded guy who sang the bad song. Like,
yeah, I liked him.
He spent a lot of time, and he ran into Mostly Harmless like 4 times. He like knew him, but he never got close to him. And like I said, he told him about how his stepdad used to abuse him really, really bad. And Mostly Harmless was like, yeah, like my dad punched me once too. And it's because like his dad and him got into an altercation because he was fighting him after he got out of a mental institution and he was mad at his dad. So he attacked his father. Like, that is like the manipulative backwards thinking that he had. You know, like he was like, yeah, my dad used to hit me too that time that I attacked him because I shot myself and I had to go to an institution after getting open body cesarean fucking surgery. Like,
my dad's an asshole.
My dad's an asshole. I totally know what it's like to be punched in the face, and so do my girlfriends.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah. True.
So,
would you suggest this to a friend? I mean, you did.
Yeah.
You suggested it to me and I watched it.
Yeah, I totally suggest it.
I feel like I would have preferred like a 20, 25 minute YouTube like mini documentary, but
yeah, like I sat down, I watched it, and I walked away from it feeling like I understood exactly what happened to him without having all of the nitty-gritty details of his death or of anything. Like, they said that he had tried to kill himself. He had suicidal ideations. He was estranged from his family. He was an abuser. He was not well. And the fact that he used to starve himself is self-harm. It made sense why he was 83 pounds. You know, it doesn't have to be spelled out. I think it was really weird. A lot of the reviews I saw was like, how is this true crime? How did he even die? I thought this was going to be murder. And it's like,
well, it's not.
Sorry, it's not murder. Sorry, it's not senseless fucking violence.
Yeah, a lot of people just want murder porn and torture porn, and
yeah,
it's just not what it is.
It's just not, literally. If you're into murder porn, if you're into murder porn, torture porn, fucking anything that is like heavy true crime, this is not it for you. If you're interested in dramatic web sleuths and mysterious hikers being found, I think that you'll like it. Everybody has their own interests and everybody likes their, you know, it doesn't matter what it is. There's someone out there who likes it just as much as you do. So
Sure.
it might be kind of a niche documentary for people. I think that it would be widely entertaining to many people. It's just not violent. So
Yeah, and a lot of people like Marvel movies as well.
that is true. That is true. You know, when I watched a recent documentary called There's Something Wrong with Aunt Diane.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
Yes, with the lady in the car, and she kills herself and her daughter and her 2 nieces and then 3 men because she
In
was
the car accident,
because
yeah.
she was drinking and driving, and her and her husband and her sister-in-law are trying to prove that she wasn't drunk, that she was having a stroke or something happened. But like, you can't change the fact that she had a super high blood alcohol content.
Yeah.
They don't talk about it in the documentary, but like, people did know that she was an alcoholic, you know, and the private investigator that they hired was actually a criminal who was arrested for stealing a woman's purse out of like a Chanel store, or something like that. I think really what happened is I think that she was drinking like she always did, but she had an abscessed tooth, right? And I think that it was making her sick. It was making her brain sick. And I think that she took some pain medication that she usually didn't take. And the mixture of the alcohol and the pain medication, like made her so fucking intoxicated that she didn't realize she was driving the wrong way down the road. Not even down the road, down a fucking highway.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, they just fucking corpse blast you.
Yeah.
Which I was like,
Hey,
what
I
the
mean,
fuck?
if you want, we can do one about that too. Same format.
I don't want to talk about it. I hated that. Me and Zach were watching it, and then we got corpse blasted, and we both started screaming.
Oh God.
And covering our eyes and turned off the TV because I wasn't expecting it. I mean, it was pretty fucking graphic. And also, like, from the details, I understand, like, they were showing her face and her upper body, but she was, like, eviscerated. She was, like, that was the upper half of her body. The other half was not there anymore.
Yeah.
So that made it worse, I guess, somehow. And then also, they left out the fact that the father went on to sue his brother and his wife. So his niece is killed by his drunk wife. He sued their parents, saying that the van was actually theirs, and if they had taken better care of the van, it wouldn't have burst into flames, which is what he believes killed the children and his wife in the car. And then when that didn't work out, he tried to sue the 3 elderly men's families who she got into a head-on collision with and murdered, saying that, well, maybe if the driver wasn't an 85-year-old man, he would have been able to be more of an offensive driver, and the head-on collision wouldn't have happened, and the deaths wouldn't have occurred. So,
Okay, sir.
I mean, just pieces of shit, and it's because they're trying to like sue and then win money so that they can like exhume her and like keep doing tests on her that just prove over and over and over again that she was drinking and driving. So
Waste of time.
Total waste of time, totally corpse blasted. So if you like that kind of stuff, go off Queen. It's on HBO. It's called There's Something Wrong with Aunt Diane. And the thing that's wrong with her is that she's drinking and driving. She's drunk.
That does tend to be a problem, yes.
Yeah.
I think, even though I wasn't very into it, and I didn't think it was like objectively good, like standout. I've seen way worse.
True.
In terms of actually being a documentary, like I've watched a lot of those kinds of things, and there was a narrative that I could follow. They held the camera still.
Yeah.
I didn't see any mics in the frames. I didn't,
Yeah.
It was a competent. It was a movie.
Yeah.
Whereas some documentaries are not. They're
movies.
just shit. But this one, it was competent. It was fine.
Yeah. In comparison to some really, really bad ones I've seen, I agree.
But I think it's the kind of movie that I could easily sum up being like, oh yeah, this guy went missing and they found him like dead in his tent and he was like all starved. And everybody said he was like really cool on the trail, but then he found out he was like there were these internet weirdos and they found out that he was like abusive and that's why no one was looking for him. And that's pretty much how I would sum it up.
Yeah, like the plot twist
and they
isn't
wouldn't
even
have
really
to
a
watch
plot
the movie.
twist. And also, like, if I was like sitting here and someone was telling me about it and they were like, and then, I'd be like, wow, that's so crazy. That sounds crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that sounds so crazy.
That's why I think it would be a good like short YouTube documentary.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the more that I think about it, I think that his story is compelling, his death is compelling, but the whole picture, I'm like,
Yeah. What would you score it out of 10 overall?
Ooh, I don't know. You go first.
5.
Okay, 5 for sure.
You think 5 as well?
No, I would say 7. 7 out of 10. Yeah.
Nice.
7 out of 10, considering the fact that like Making a Murderer is a 9 out of 10 for me.
Okay. I haven't seen it, so I don't know, but
You'd probably hate it, I guess. I don't know. It's a lot of court stuff and people sitting in court and
I don't know if you know, I watch trials.
Oh, then you might like it.
That's like what I do in my spare time. I watch people get bullied online and I watch trials.
You're so sick. You'd probably really, really like it then.
I like watching sovereign citizens.
Oh God.
They make me laugh.
What do I like to watch? Let's see. Let's go look at my YouTube.
I like to think that because of my sovereignty, if I got pulled over, I could just say that I'm like, I do not adhere to the rules of the United States of America. I'm not in contract with the police department of the government entity.
Okay.
I'm piloting my vessel. Okay.
Okay. So this is what I have on my YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
24-hour ambiance video. Then I have Cozy Castle Haven, rain, fireplace, and thunderstorms, 11 hours of white noise tranquility. And then I have Missing Dead Woman Found in Morgue 1 year after hospital visit.
Are you looking at watch history? Or are you looking at recommended?
Oh, I'm looking at recommended. Sorry. Oh, should I look at
okay.
Should I look at history?
Let's see what's on my history.
Oh my God, it's a whole lot of bunch of random stuff. Let's see. I have ghost stuff. Bigfoot. When did I watch this? This looks interesting. The title is Bigfoot, the Corpse of 1847. What the fuck is that? Most haunted places in Missouri. When did I watch that? Oh my God. Dean Coral. What is this? I've not watched any of these. Are these?
Sometimes if your screen is on a certain video in the recommended for long enough, like if it starts to show the video, it counts it as played.
Oh my God. That is fucked.
Yeah. It's just because you hovered over it long enough.
Oh. Anyways, what's on yours?
I have Sovereign Citizen claims fail in DUI arrest. There's a video about Dragon Lord Frodo, who's and then there is Cyrax battles for his girlfriend. I don't know if you know who Cyrax is. There's She's Back. Meth addict mom gets locked up in Judge Middleton's court.
Oh my God.
I have top 10 scary ghost videos Mama says don't watch.
Is that Nuke's top 5?
Yeah.
He only puts out videos once a month now.
So sad. Oh my God.
But yeah, and I have some Debussy classical music gems. I have suggested by Coroner Office When Suspects Die Trying to Evade Police Part 3.
Oh God. I have let me find it again.
That's right next to Celestial Dreams Harp Meditation.
Jesus Christ.
Let's turn that on. Oh.
Beautiful.
Can you hear it?
A little bit. I guess while that's playing, I'll tell you about body cam video. Cops find man with dementia in bed with wife's dismembered body.
I literally keep seeing that suggested to me. I'm not going to watch it.
It's sad. It's scary.
What happened? Did he kill her?
Yeah, the family was supposed to have Thanksgiving at that guy's house. The guy and his wife, the dementia guy. They go over, no one's answering, so they call a welfare check. And they just go inside because it's unlocked or whatever. And they go up to the bedroom, and the guy's just in his bed. He's all bloody, and then there's just pieces of his wife everywhere.
Why did he kill her?
Because he had dementia. He said he was just tired of it. He said that he had died a long time ago. He just said all kinds of weird shit because he's just not there. He had tried to stab himself too, so he was in the hospital because he stabbed himself a bunch of times. And then he died in the hospital. It was just weird.
Oh.
Beautiful harps.
I know. I literally hated that you just told me all that stuff. Well, maybe it's time to go to bed.
Time to let the harps play and think about dismemberment and have a good relaxing time.
Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful. Well, thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening. Oh my God, it's
so loud.
It's overpowering. Hold on.
Good God. That almost drowned out the sound of dismemberment in my mind.
Oh my God, he's quiet and then he's loud. He's going crazy on this shit.
This harpist?
Yeah, but I'm gonna save this clip because this is gorge. Oh yeah, I'll add it to my watch later. Okay. Well, thank you guys for listening to Evil Airwaves. This is
we hope to have more and new things for you.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah. Definitely new things. We'll have Delphi murders updates for next Evil Airwaves. Honestly, might just be an entire Delphi murders episode.
Damn.
Honestly.
You think so?
Well, the Delphi murders is something that I've been following since it happened. Which is very strange for me, like I said, because true crime used to be my thing. And then something happened to my brain when I got into my mid-20s where
I think that's called the brain developing fully.
My brain developed fully and I couldn't detach the media and God damn you, harp. Too loud. I could not detach my feelings and my fear and the disturbing aspects of it. I could not separate it in my mind. And also I think I just started to experience more death as I moved into my mid-20s. And I just don't like it. Just don't like it. So when the Delphi murders happened, I think I was very much so into true crime at that time, but I've followed it ever since because of how bad I felt for those girls and their families because they were just little girls. When you look at the pictures of them in their volleyball, portraits and their best friends and they're smiling and it's just disgusting what happened to them. Yeah. So anyways, thank you so much for listening. Enjoy this harp music that does not belong to me. So hopefully it doesn't affect. I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think the AI could understand what's happening. The
AI is confused.
I don't think the AI is going to be able to be like, that harp is not belonging to her.
I think it'll be okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Until next time, folks.
Until next time, you guys, listen to harp. It turns up so fast. Good night.
Good night. Sleep well. Don't think about dismemberment.
Don't think about dismemberment. And we'll catch you next week to talk about
dismemberment.
No, not next week. We'll see you in like 4 weeks.
Oh yeah, we'll see you then.
We'll see you then. Goodbye.
Bye.
At 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, multiple unidentified objects were confirmed to have entered Earth's atmosphere. It is speculated that these objects are of extraterrestrial origin. The broadcast will quiet at this time for your safety. Continue to carry out the following instructions.
Radio Grave is hosted by Amber Byland and Dominique Makasuya. Music courtesy of AOA Music, Carl Casey at White Bat Audio, and intro music by Simon Bickbyler. Audio mixing and editing by Amber Byland. Logo and cover art by Dominique Makasuya. All other media and sound clips used are protected under fair use and are for the purpose of criticism, commentary, news reporting, education, and research. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.